practice of collecting caste data continued until the 1951 census. However, from there on, the government decided to stop collecting caste data except for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes to promote national unity and move away from quote-unquote divisive caste-based politics. Remember, this was done under successive Congress governments. But in today's context, it is the Congress itself, under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi, that has been at the forefront of demanding another caste census. Rahul Gandhi even went as far as to say reservations should be proportionate to population numbers. Jitni abadi, utna haq. Bihar government's release of a caste survey in 2023 further intensified these demands. Now, the Modi government that had so far stated that it will not enumerate caste-wise population, today, when everyone least expected it, has announced this decision. Overall, while a caste census has the potential to promote social justice and equity, it also presents significant challenges that need to be carefully managed. So is the government, in fact the entire Indian polity, ready for the repercussions? And whose credit is it really that this decision has been finally taken? We'll get to that question with our guests in just a bit. These are the parties that really demanded a caste census, and a crescendo was achieved over the last few years or months. Congress, Samajwadi Party, RJD and DMK, all part of the India alliance. But there were those that were part of the NDA too that were also on board this demand. The Janata Dal United, Rashtriya Lok Dal, Lok Janshakti Party all have in principle wanted a caste survey. Other parties include the CPIM, the CPI and even Bahujan Samaj Party of Mayawati that has wanted this caste survey for some time. This debate has been making headlines in Indian polity for a while, and both sides have been weighing in, and we've been discussing this for quite some time as well. So what are the pros and cons? Those in favor of the caste census say it will provide data to identify marginalized groups, but the argument against has been that managing a caste entry running into thousands actually could be. Those in favor say that it's necessary for society to know what castes are shaping our society, because caste still shapes our reality. And the argument against is that caste census could lead to division and risk of identity-based politics, which we frankly already have enough of. Those in favor say it prevents quota misuse, enables subcategorization within backward classes. The argument countering this is that caste census could lead to selective use of data for vote bank politics and not so much for actually bettering anybody's life. Because for 75 years, we've had not just caste data in the past, but also reservations. Why is it that we still feel more and more need for those reservations on the basis of identity? While some say that caste census counters the elite capture of benefits by dominant groups within SC, STs and even the OBCs, others say caste census may not address the root causes of inequality or discrimination. With both sides now claiming win as far as this decision of the Union Cabinet is concerned, the big question we ask is not just whether it is actually going to help us as a society, but whose credit is it? Whose win is it in the end?
प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में राजनीतिक विषयों की कैबिनेट समिति ने यह निर्णय लिया है कि जातियों की गणना को आने वाली जनगणना में सम्मिलित किया जाए।
हमारी ही मांग है, ये हमारी ही जीत है, ये लालू जी की जीत है, ये हमारे पुरखों की जीत है, ये समाजवादियों की जीत है, और हमारे ही एजेंडे की बात जो है आज भाजपा कर रही है, जो कल तक कहती थी कि नहीं करेंगे।
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Chitra Batham is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Pooja Mishra, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, both with us. We're also expecting some of our other guests to join us. But of course, both Congress and the Samajwadi Party together have fought elections. They're a part of the India alliance and they have together demanded caste census. Chitra, I begin with you first up. Do you see this as a win for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress Party?
Well, yes, Shivani, this is a great day for us. Although we know that the political situation and the sentiments of the country are in a little turmoil as of today related to the terror attacks, but yet this comes as a breath of fresh air that the government has decided to do caste census they have moved away from rigidity to now reformed welfare of the people of India. And this is all due to one man's commitment towards it, that is Sri Rahul Ji Gandhi's commitment towards caste census. He has been abused in the parliament in the past by BJP goons in the name of caste census, as the entire nation has seen, and yet he stuck to his respective commitment for the welfare of the people of India. And
Okay,
he mentioned
but Chitra,
that
how do you respond to the fact that the union minister who announced it today and government today also says that, Congress and other parties have only done politics in the name of caste census? Some of your governments have also, said that they're conducting a caste survey or want a caste survey, but caste surveys don't equate a census. They are unscientific, and actually the demand was never to be fulfilled because Congress was in power when all parties in parliament pushed for a caste census, but the government didn't do it then, way back in 2010 and 2011.
Shivani, we must understand that in our diversified country, that is India, the social justice that we seek is not going to be an overnight thing. So obviously, it has to be a constructive and a rigorous step taken in a positive direction through ages and through centuries and through decades in the right direction. I must definitely say that in all the years of the Congress ruling our country, India, reservation has never taken a setback. In fact, it has always taken a precedence for the welfare of the people. So
no, reservations haven't taken a step back even now. In fact, the government has only increased reservations for the economically backward from all castes of society.
No, that is what I'm saying. There's a huge difference when we talk about the reserved category versus the unreserved category. But that is a thing for some other day to discuss. What we are very happy about today is that the government has come down onto its knees and it has thought of implementing the caste census. And Rahul Ji's vision has been completely, fortified by the government. We are very happy for that respective commitment from the government. But as I said, Congress has always meant progress for the backward.
Government has come down on its knees. Parimal Singh, leader of the JDU, is also joining us. Do you also see this as Modi government bending down to a demand that was, let's be fair, largely helmed by Congress party and Rahul Gandhi?
This is welcome step on behalf of NDA. You see, as far as the question of JDU is concerned, JDU consistently was in favor of caste census. My leader was consistently demanding and he conducted caste-based survey.
Yes.
At that time, actually, you see, government of Bihar conducted caste-based survey. Actually, as far as the question of caste is concerned, for the Congress, caste is the instrument to win the election. But for ours, for my leader, caste is a unit of development. Actually, until and unless you will have detailed analysis and detailed data about the caste, how can you implement any developmental program to activity? You see,
but Congress is also saying the same thing.
No, not at all. You say,
Mr. Piramal, Congress is also saying the same thing for the last 1 or 2 years. I'm not going into their historical arguments. They're also saying unless you have the correct data and the latest data, how will you formulate your policies?
No, you see now, Congress remained in power for almost 6 decades. Actually, they never tried to conduct particularly caste census. In 2011, they conducted socio-economic caste census, but they never publicized the data because the census was conducted not by the Department of Census and the Registrar of Census. Actually, it was the step of the Congress to deceive the people of India. That's why it not disclosed the data. Actually, we were in favor when JDU was in ally of India Alliance. Actually, we were consisting pressurizing every component to move a resolution that when India Alliance will come in power, it will conduct caste-based census. And that's why my party pressurized Congress as well as RJD, Samajwadi Party and Mamata Banerjee in Mumbai session, you see. But my leader raised the issue that caste census should be the main goal of India.
Sure, fair enough.
In the interest of that, actually, Congress opposed.
Congress
RJD
opposed in the past. Yes, Siddharth
SP
Yadav of
opposed
the
and
BJP is
Patori
also
TMC
joining us.
opposed.
Just one second,
So
one by
this is
one,
the
please.
condition.
Before I go across to Siddharth, because most questions he'll be facing, Pooja Mishra is also waiting. But Chitra, I'll allow you a quick rebuttal to what Mr. Piramal said. You've opposed it in the past. That's also recorded history. You can't shy away from it. You can always come out and say we changed our mind.
We have always stood for it. We have always fought for it. It is the JDU, the party that must
Congress
understand.
spokesman
That
could
although they had
clarify.
done census
Then my
when they were
leader
in Acts, but then they
that resolution should be passed in Mumbai session of India Alliance.
the reservation for the backward class. We in Telangana and Karnataka, we have increased the
Unnecessary
reservation
issue.
for the backward
They have
people.
no interest in the welfare of the people. You see, in Indra Saniket, the Supreme Court has said that until and unless you will have updated data, how can you implement reservation policy? But actually, there was no answer of the Congress. Congress only raised this issue to gain the sympathy of the people. You see, actually, they had no any interest of. If particularly suppose,
Let's also not forget, one by one, please, let's not talk over each other, because both of your voices will get lost, one by one. Mr. Parimal, just hold on. Let's not forget that post 1951, caste was included or removed from the caste census. Jawaharlal Nehru is on record to oppose caste-based reservations or reservations per se. So this is a history of the Congress party, right? I want to go across. One second, ma'am, I'll come back to you. I'll give you an opportunity. Let's go across to Pooja Mishra also. Pooja Mishra, whose win is it?
When Congress started getting...
Shivani,
yes.
Shivani, let me tell you.
Pooja and Siddharth, please.
Yes. Let me tell you, this is the win of TDA, their collective strength. And Shivani, this is just the beginning. We will keep fighting until the proportional, according to population proportional reservation is done. Talking about the caste census, now BJP has bowed down and has started to include the caste census. But in September 2021, it was BJP government who ruled out the socio-economic caste census. And now they are saying just because PDO has been demanding it, and we request the government, if you are going for the caste census, rightfully do the work so that the justice can be done. BJP has always been afraid of data because data wants justice. And BJP has always been saying that doing caste census will be dividing India, but Samajwadi Party thinks and the PDP thinks it will be the revealing.
But I do want to ask you, after data what? That is the question. Frankly, most people were not objecting to the caste census per se, but they were worried about the repercussions of a caste census, which could lead to greater and greater demands for reservations. What's your stand on that?
Shivani, the present reservation system is from 1930 caste census, when it was British rule, and British government did that caste census. At that time, the population of OBC was 52%, and then decision was taken that after Mandal Commission that 27% reservation will be given to the OBC. So think about it. And at that time, when in 1930 the Nishad were excluded, and the some of the STs from Uttar Pradesh were excluded because at that time they were against British rule, so they were not counted in that caste census. So right now we need to know, if we have to give the justice to people, we need to know what is the data.
So can I ask you? Actually, I'll save that question. But let me go across to Siddharth Yadav first. Siddharth. Opposition, Congress, SP, everybody in one unison saying the Modi government has had to bow down to their demand. You've changed your stance. You've done a complete U-turn from just a year ago.
Shivani, I think it is a historic day and a historic decision has been taken by the government of India under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. But it has also put the opposition in a very uncomfortable position. The opposition is confused today because they do not know they should welcome this decision or they should not welcome this decision.
They're welcoming
Politics has gone, they are welcoming it with a lot of caveats. That is their reality. Now today, the people, the opposition parties who used to say that Modi Sarkar kabhi jatigat janganna nahi karwayegi, we will come and fight on the streets, it is the Modi government which is stopping the caste-based census. Today, suddenly, they do not know what has happened.
No, we want to know suddenly what has happened. Siddharth, let me borrow your words. Suddenly, what has happened? Tell us.
And Shivani, yes, and Shivani, that is why I am coming to your question. It is no U-turn from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Honorable Home Minister last year, August, on 18th August, he spoke that Jatigat Ganna caste-based census would happen and Bharatiya Janata Party would do it. I have participated in a lot of debates. Our spokespersons went to all debates. Despite everybody saying that Bharatiya Janata Party caste-based census nahi karwaegi, we always used to say that we would do because we are the ones who have always taken care of the Dalit, the Pichda, the Vanchit, the Soshit, the backward classes who were always put aside by the Congress party.
No, but
In
you've also
2011,
called
all
it,
questions
you've
are
also
asked
called,
today.
Siddharth, you've also called, let's be fair, you've also called these demands for a caste census from Rahul Gandhi particularly regressive and divisive. Then what changes now?
Shivani, I would just request you to give me 30 uninterrupted seconds. Now, what has to be understood is Rahul Gandhi used to do politics based on caste, and he used to go and ask, kitni jati ke kitne log hain desh ki sena mein. He used to ask, what is the caste of judges? He used to ask, what is the caste of Miss India? He used to ask, what is the caste of sportsmen? We do not do it. And neither we believe that caste-based census is the end for all social justice in this country. We as a party, we as a government believe that measures have to be taken, which we have taken as a government. We were the ones who bought the NCBC constitutional bill. We were the ones who set up the fisheries department. We were the ones who brought in the Vishwakarma Yojana. We were the ones who gave maximum representation to OBCs, SCs, STs in our cabinet. We were the ones who made an OBC prime minister. We were the ones who made maximum number of benefits for the reserved classes. But what has the opposition done? नेहरू जी यूज्ड टू से इस देश में जातिगत जनगणना आ गई या इस देश के अंदर रिजर्वेशन आ गया द क्वालिटी वुड गो डाउन. राजीव जी यूज्ड टू से दैट द रिजर्व्ड क्लासेस आर बुद्धूस. It was these opposition parties, the RJD, the Samajwadi Party, the Congress Party, which opposed the NCBC constitutional bill in 2017. They took away the reservation rights from AMU and Jamia. They want to take all away and give it to one class, the vote bank class. They want to take it all away from the OBCs, the SCs and STs, and they want to give it like they did in Bengal to Muslims.
Okay,
like they want to do
let
in
the
Karnataka.
Congress spokesperson come in. One by one. I don't want you guys to speak over each other, please. Please. Siddharth, hold on. You had more than, you had more than 30 uninterrupted seconds. Yes, Chitra.
All right.
Chitra, go ahead.
You talk about reservations being taken away from AMU and Jamia. There is a Congress that has given reservation in IITs and IIMs to the backward caste people. What have you done? You have opposed the Mandal Commission. Shame on you. You have burnt effigies. Your leaders have burnt effigies of BP Mandal, Sharad Yadav and Ramvilas Paswan as Kumbhakaran and Ravan in Ramlila Maidan. You Mandal people, you are coming today and trying to take credit of that particular thing. Shame on you for misleading the nation.
Okay.
Jawaharlal Nehru ji has always stood for the people, and he was the first one to conduct the Article 340, to bring the Article 340 in the parliament, so that special reservation should be made for the backward people who were
Okay. Chitra, hold on. Yes, Siddharth, quickly.
Shivani, I'll give a quick response, but I'm just speaking facts today, and that's why I don't want to get agitated. All of us know who was sitting on the Kaka Kalelkar Commission report for 10 years. All of us know who was sitting on the Mandal Commission report
One
for
by one.
12 years.
Chitra ma'am, one
All
by
of us
one.
know. I was not speaking while you were
Please, let's
speaking.
not.
over me.
Serious
Please have the
issue.
courtesy.
Today should not be the day that anybody should be speaking over each other, because ultimately what everybody wanted has happened, right? That's what all political parties are saying. Let's hear each other out. Yes. We can have all our guests on. Yes, Siddharth.
All of us know who delayed the right of giving a constitutional status for 27 years to the NCBC. 27 years. All of us know the stand of Congress party. All of us know that in 2010, when a committee was made that caste-based census should happen in this country, the Congress party went against it and said that we'll do a separate survey called as a SECC. They spent over 4,000 crores over that and never released the data for that. All of us know that in Karnataka, Congress party is still in power. They have the survey data. They're not releasing it. All of us know that. All of us know the position of Congress party. And I bet you, and I'll give you a fact for your viewers on this show. My friend from Congress is saying that they gave reservation in IIMs. What was the reservation in IIMs? Despite Mandal Commission giving 27% to the OBCs, how much percent was given in the IIMs to OBCs?
So
it was the Narendra Modi government which brought it up. You gave 15% to OBCs after the Mandal Commission. You gave 15% when you were ruling. But no question should be asked to the Congress party when you are in power, and all questions you will ask when you are in opposition.
One by one. Once again, I have a question for Siddharth. Then I'll go to our other guest. Chitra, please hang on. Let's do this in a more civil manner, please. One second. Credit wars are actually even worse than the fights that ensued for asking for the caste census demand. But anyways, on a lighter note, I do want to ask you, Siddharth, it is your core voter, if I may use that term, your constituency, that has always been the most nervous about reservations. They don't like the perpetuation of reservations. There is no sunset clause in India. Reservations only keep burgeoning and burgeoning. Forget about, reducing, as should be any society's aim. And this census will lead to more demands, I'm sure. You are aware of those demands that are placed already. How is the BJP going to reconcile what has been its long-term socio-economic vision with this decision?
Shivani, BJP's long-term socio-economic vision has been that people who deserve the reservation should be given the benefit of reservation, and anybody standing in the end of the line should be brought forward. Hand-holding has to happen because everybody has to be given a level playing field for the country to progress. This is point number one. Point number two, we are also of a very firm belief that it's not the caste census or any such census that can give a social equality in this country. Measures have to be taken. It can be one way, but the Congress party and the entire opposition was claiming that do a caste census and we will have a very flowery situation in this country and all OBCs will get their rights. For OBCs to get their rights, for poor people to get their rights, for women, for youth to get their rights, you need to work upon it. Caste census can be one of such aspects which required consideration, and the government has taken and done such consideration. But our government is going to work step by step, day by day, inch by inch to ensure that all social justice is ensured in this country, and people coming from all classes are given the
Mr. Parimal, I want to come to you. The question that many have asked is that this whole clamor for caste census, caste-based reservations is purely for vote bank politics and for nothing else. Look at the history of these movements over the last 20 years itself, especially since the ceiling of 50% came in. So many governments across political lines have tried to breach that ceiling. They don't have the data, courts have sent them back, etc., etc. The question that arises is, for 75 years, if reservations haven't helped those at the absolute margins of society, why are we still clamoring for more reservation?
Shivani, in fact, particularly opposition party like Congress, RJD and Samajwadi Party and TMK also consider caste census and associate caste census only with the reservation factor. The reservation is the one factor. Besides, particularly the government introduced several developmental programs. And to implement developmental program effectively, it is essential to have a updated caste census data. Because particularly you know that in Bihar, when my leader conducted caste-based survey, actually the government is providing 2 lakhs rupees to 94,000 families in Bihar, right? We also introduced the new reservation policy in the interest of the people of Bihar. Our objective was to ensure balanced, equitable and sustainable development.
But so my question is, I get what you're saying. My question is, if reservations in the parties like yourself or even the Congress and the SP are the first ones to remind us that
Congress
social divide. One second, just listen to me. We are told on a daily basis that social marginalization is at its worst. We are told things are worse today than they were 70 years ago. So naturally the question will arise, then how have reservations helped?
Who is responsible for such type of gap in disparity, gender disparity, caste disparity? Actually, Congress is the sole responsible factor because it ruled the government India for a long period and they never showed any interest when it was in power. Actually, you see where Rahul Gandhi is raising this issue only to get the political mileage. He has no any interest.
I want to take a quick comment from Pooja also.
We are supporters of caste census and since particularly you know, caste census, to conduct caste census fall in the central list. Actually, subject number 69 is the...
Yes, absolutely. Well, we all know that. Of course, what state governments attempted was not going to lead to anything.
Congress never tried to implement, to conduct caste census when it conducted socio-economic...
Okay, all right. I'll take that to Chitra in just a bit. 1 second, sir. Okay, 1 second, sir.
They were afraid of that if
They were
Actually,
afraid
when
of.
they
Okay,
will,
Chitra will respond to that.
yes,
Pooja, my
yes.
question to you is the same. Samajwadi Party also at the forefront of demanding
Congress
this.
never
Should they?
taken a step for the upliftment of the
Okay,
downtrodden. For
okay,
upliftment
Chitra
of
will
the,
respond to that. But Pooja,
for upliftment of
same
women,
question to
actually
you.
for
If for
develop-
75 years, you yourself say, oh, you know, people are worse off than they used to be, then shouldn't we revisit how we are helping or trying to help those people? Caste census and caste-based reservations, are they the only solution?
Shivani, it was the only
If when the caste data will come out, then you will get to know, Shivani, how justice you can provide them, how what their requirement is. Talking about the reservation, now I heard the Congress spokesperson and the BJP spokesperson, they all talk about the IIM and IITs. But as I am a PhD, I have completed my PhD. I'm just waiting for my final viva, and I have been applying for universities for my, obviously I'm eligible for assistant professor, and then I get to know that these IIM and IITs have more than 60 to 80% vacant seat where no recruitment has been done. It's not like that this reserve seat hasn't got any application, and they have got the application, but what the result is, none found applicable. This is what done. This is how the their rights has been hampered. Their rights has been exploited. They are not provided their rights. And talking about,
but there's another reality, Pooja. I understand what you're saying, but there's another reality, and people in a modern progressive society do ask this question: what happens to merit? You look at the benchmarks that are set for a general category admitted student, for example, or any applicant, and any other category. The gaps are so huge. Are we not supposed to talk about that? Does it not impact merit? Does it not impact merit and quality in this country? Let only Pooja respond, please, one by one, please. Not at the same time.
Let me answer you.
Yes.
Let me answer you.
Yes.
That's why our constitution talk about equity.
Yes.
That's what we talk about. Our constitution don't talk about equality. It's equity. Everyone should get proper opportunity. If a person has, he's hungry for two chapatis, he need to get 2 chapatis. If a person is hungry for 4 chapatis, he need to get 4 chapatis.
Please, sir, please lower his speed.
No, it is not equality. And talking about the rights of, why to forget 69,000 vacancies, 69,000.
No, you didn't answer my question, Pooja. This equity versus equality didn't answer my question. If you want equity and equality, then why should the benchmarks not be the same? The quality has to be the same, na? Forget about equality. The quality has to be the same.
They have not got an opportunity for so far. How you want
for 75 years, we haven't really breached that opportunity benchmark only.
That's why they are backward.
That's why they're backward. Okay.
That's why they're backward.
All right. No, these questions have to be looked into. They cannot be brushed under the carpet. That for 75 years we had reservations, but we haven't even breached the quality benchmark. People continue to remain backward. Let them remain backward. Let's keep having reservations.
Not whole of them.
Not whole of them. Okay, Chitra. Final minute to Chitra, please. Final minute to Chitra. Yes.
Shivani, basically you're generalizing and stating that the reserve category people do not have any merit. I can give you so many examples. And
I'm not saying that at all.
You tell me, how much data do we have of IIT and IIM professors? There is not a single professor in Delhi University since independence. Why is that so? You are saying that the reserve category people are not having any merit?
Well, Jawaharlal Nehru said merit will take a hit because of reservations.
Universities, and this is the this is the Manuvadi mindset that they have. The not found suitable.
I am saying let everybody have the same benchmarks. Why are you opposing that?
In fact, it is more, and yet because we come from the reserve category, we are not given the opportunity. I can give you hundreds of such instances.
So how will reservation help now? Okay, Chitra, if I was to take your word, Chitra, I take your word. Under reservation system, you haven't got your opportunities. How will it change now?
Because
why do you want reservations again?
The things, the way in which our reservation or our opportunities are being hampered. Now you have to be accountable for it.
Now you have to be accountable. For 75 years they were unaccountable under Congress rule. For 60 years Congress ruled, right, in states and centre. Why was it so unaccountable?
And for 60 years Congress was stopped.
Congress was stopped.
Yes, it was stopped. For the reserve category people. And JDU has got no authority to talk about all these things. They're not able to implement the doing the caste survey.
That's a survey, that's not a census. Let's at least agree on one thing, that census is the union list issue. Only the central government could have conducted it. Surveys don't equate census, but now at least all political parties seem to be happy that at least the caste census has been approved as part of the next census. The next census is extremely delayed. After 2011, we haven't had a census. Let the government be able to conduct the next census as soon as possible. I do thank our guests for joining us. In fact, I did speak to Sachin Pilot, who's a big leader of the Congress party at the recent Rising Bharat Summit, and posed the same questions about not just where a caste census demand will lead to, also what does it do to merit in India. Listen in. Your leader, the leader of the Congress party, or the biggest face of the Congress party today, Rahul Gandhi, he's been talking about caste-based reservations. He wants to expand it beyond the 50% limit legally prescribed today. He talks about jitni abadi utna hak.
No, so let me start by saying that I am fully in agreement with you that we have to have a competitive merit-based system in our country. There is no question about it. But on the flip side, if the argument you made, I have only this to say. There are people who have not been able to enter the mainstream, who are on the fringes of our society, absolute fringes, economically, socially, subjugated to centuries of suppression. And when I say, and when the Congress party says we must have a head count, it is only to make sure that we have the adequate budgetary allocations to those sections who need it. After the survey is done, maybe we'll find that some people are getting it, but they don't deserve it. Move that. Be scientific. Unless we know the extent of the population or the geographical area which they inhabit, how do I know how much money to give? And incidentally, you said 50%. Who said 50%? Why not 40 or 55? This limit is arbitrary because it is set, some decades ago. India has changed. I think we must have a head count to see the socio-economical background of everybody in this country. Right now, resource allocation is done at the whim and fancy of a political party or a government. There is no data to back it. Every time we have gone to court, court always says, please give empirical evidence of why you want to do this scheme or reservation, for example. I think people who have merit have enough space and they should get space, but those who have been left out in the mainstream for decades and centuries do need a level playing field.
But I'll ask you very quickly, you are saying caste survey, do it, get the head count and then allocate resources accordingly. That's fine in its own regard. But are you also for increasing reservation limit to 60, 70, 80%?
There are areas in the country where 90% population is tribals and Dalits. Where do they go? I mean, I think what we should do actually is to make the supply so abundant that the demand matches it. Right now, there is less number of seats available, less jobs available, and that's why there is a hue and cry of how many seats we can give. If you make the supply abundant, if you put resources in creating jobs, if you increase the number of seats for engineering, for college, for education, we will not have this problem. I mean, we have to work in tandem. And when you say that 50% should be merit, I think it should be 100% merit. But what about a large chunk of our country that has not moved as quickly as some of us have? What about those people who don't have access to money, resource, connections, who can't get to a college, who can't get education, and are living in abject poverty? And this country cannot grow and get its place under the sun in the global world unless that half of our country is brought to the front line.
Okay.
And the way to do it is not giving money, is giving opportunity. And I'm asking for level playing field, but you cannot ignore those who have all access, studying in the best schools and colleges, competing with people in villages who have hardly anything. So you have to have a balance. But having a head count, how does it hurt? Let's get the facts out. Let's not do tera mera, I know better, you know better. Let's get scientific proof of what the numbers are, and then we figure out how to move forward.
Moving on to the big story that we've been tracking, the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack. Nearly 24 hours after that attack, Pakistan was quick to distance itself. The Defence Minister Khwaja Asif called the attack a homegrown rebellion and said that they must not be blamed. But as the days have passed, as India has continued to mount pressure, Pakistan was forced to show its cards. Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister equated the terrorists first with freedom fighters. Only days later, Defence Minister accepted on global stage that Pakistan has indeed been doing the dirty work of funding and training terrorists, but for the US for the last 3 decades. And if that was not all, today yet another minister stood tall on the floor of the House in Assembly in Pakistan and gloated about securing a UN shield for Lashkar offshoot, the resistance front, the very terror outfit that had initially claimed responsibility for the Pahalgam attack. Listen in.
यूएस ने एक प्रेस रिलीज इसी सिस्टम के तहत दी, मुझे कॉपी मिल गई। उसमें पाकिस्तान के बिहाफ पे मेरे दो इतराज़ात थे। एक उसमें पहलगाम लिखा हुआ था सिर्फ, और दूसरा उसमें ब्लेम डाला गया था द रेजिस्टेंस फोरम, और उस पे उसको कंडेम किया गया, उसको जिम्मेदार ठहराया गया उस प्रेस रिलीज में। तो मुझे आई, मैंने देखा, मैंने कहा ये एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं। पहलगाम के साथ आपको लिखना पड़ेगा जम्मू एंड कश्मीर। वो कहते हैं आप पे ब्लेम आएगा, प्रेस रिलीज नहीं हुई, इतना बड़ा वाकया हुआ। आपके जाबर एक्सप्रेस में भी ये आई थी, कंडेमनेशन की, टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी को कंडेम किया गया था। मैंने कहा ये रेडी, बट प्लीज यू हैव टू पुट इन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर एंड हैव टू डिलीट दिस टीआरएफ। अल्लाह के फजल करम से जनाब चेयरमैन, पाकिस्तान के को ये मुबारक हो और आपको कि हमने वो दोनों चीज़ें अमेंड करके वो प्रेस रिलीज पे जारी हुई और पाकिस्तान के मौक़िफ़ को तस्लीम किया गया।
Look how their own leaders are actually standing in their assembly and parliament and talking about terror groups getting protection and them being responsible for it at the UN. What does it tell you? Pakistan surely is also rattled because India hasn't really let up the pressure, not in terms of words and also in terms of what it is saying is coming. On one hand, leaders are holding midnight press conferences worried about an initiation of war, warning of strikes from the Indian side, and they're also basking in their delusion in the daytime. Listen in.
Pakistan has credible intelligence that India intends carrying out military action against Pakistan in the next 24 to 36 hours.
कि वो वक्त दूर नहीं है कि जब बाबरी मस्जिद की पहली ईंट उसकी बुनियाद में पिंडी से एक आम सिपाही लगाएगा और उसमें पहली अजान पाकिस्तान का सिपाहसालार आसिम मुनीर देगा.
Well, Pakistan is spooked. Is the reality setting in that this time around they will not be able to get away? Major Manik M. Jolly, defense expert, and also Vikram Singh, former IPS, joining us on the show. Major Jolly, I come to you. What do you make of these statements that are coming in from Pakistan? I mean, their own leaders are actually sitting in parliament and defending terror groups, offshoots of Lashkar-e-Taiba, the group that made a mockery of itself at least and publicly in a way gave an admission when it first claimed responsibility for Pahalgam, then trembled in its boots and said, oh, we've done an internal audit and somebody made an unauthorized post on our behalf. I mean, this has become laughable. We're talking about a very serious issue, but it's laughable what is happening in Pakistan.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for inviting. What I'll say, any responsible country, you would never have a minister or a leader actually even associating themselves with a terror group.
Yes.
You would never see them saying. But for them to actually take it proudly that we made sure that their name is not mentioned is a complicit agreement, right? It's like they are displaying that these guys have been working with us for a very long time and we fought for them to get their name removed from the press release. Also, you have to understand Pakistan a little bit. The terror groups, especially these Hafiz Saeed ones and LDTs and JEM, they are so big that these ministers actually run by their blessings. So this is kind of a show and tell from this minister's side to see, I'm fighting for you. See, I'm getting your name removed. So he's a representative of a terrorist group which the Pakistan government and army has always been. And he's presenting a proof in the parliament indirectly to his terror. Aka is the word which the PM used in his speech, right? That here we are fighting for you and getting your name removed. This is a great actually proof for India that the terror network in Pakistan just does not run independently and without agreement with the government and the army.
Yes.
And within the army and government, they just want to up each other by telling who is a better supporter to them because they know at the back end these are the guys calling shots.
Yeah, absolutely. Vikram Singh, your take on this as well, because, the commentary in Pakistan tells you a lot, not just in the state that they're in, but also just the mindset that they have. On one hand, they're calling world leaders saying, oh, let India not act against us. They're also saying, oh, if you do this, we'll do twice. They are dreaming of building a Babri Masjid in India. I mean, just the mindset. I mean, Asim Munir's speech showed that mindset, and that what the lady senator said showed it again.
I thought in your opening remarks you summed it up very beautifully, that it is getting to be delirious. I said that buffoonery has attained a different level now altogether. And this lady in the parliament says that the first azan would be given by Munir.
Yes.
Munir is absolutely shaking and his knees are shaking. I don't think that anything is possible in the wildest possible dreams. Coming to the fact that now it is established beyond doubt that terrorism is a state policy of Pakistan. A failed state, a bankrupt state, and a rogue state. It has no option left but to indulge in terror. And what Major Jolly has said, words of profound wisdom, that all these terrorists are the other side of the Pakistan army. They enjoy all the assets of Pak army, their messes, their vehicles, their planes, and the entire infrastructure. It's only a different matter that, yes, that they dress up as in salwar suits and other camouflage equipment, but they are the alter ego of the Pakistan army. And then the one thing interesting has happened, that they created terrorism for the last 3 decades at the behest of US. When the unwelcome truth seem to be coming, I will not confirm or contradict what the Pakistani army or the people are saying. But the ground reality is that they are absolutely in folded hands, kneeling and sitting in prayer. Another wise person said that we expect an attack from India in the next 24 to 26 hours. I don't know what stopwatch or calibration he seems to be using. The fact of the matter is that they are delirious, absolutely scared, and with $1 billion of reserves, I don't think they will last even for a few hours, what to talk of a few days. Now, to the open support that they gave to the TRF, the Lashkar-e-Taiyiba, and also celebrated Pahalgam, goes to show that their concern is absolutely to fund and to create a situation, and then to tell that it is a homegrown terror in Kashmir, which is nothing but absolutely. Pakistan, in any case, is a serial and an habitual liar, and the lies have been exposed right across the world, beginning from the identification of Osama bin Laden near the Army Academy till date. The TRF and others, cosmetic changes give
Today,
you no reason to be very proud.
No, today though, they don't just keep exposing themselves. Let's not forget, when they initially denied Pulwama, a year later, again in their assembly, one of them ended up accepting it. So, you know, truth has a way of coming out, and they're in this quandary, right? What to take credit of, but this desire to take credit of actions. I mean, Pervez Musharraf is very famous for claiming "Hamare log," right? So it comes out eventually, and these attempts are just absolutely futile. But it also shows that today there is a nervousness, because they're also calling other world leaders, their allies, friends, etc., and saying, oh, look, India is threatening us, please ask them, we want to have a neutral or impartial probe, we are happy to do. We've done these probes in the past, we know that those probes are shams, so certainly India is not paying heed to this. I request our guests to just stay with us, because in the aftermath of this Pahalgam terror attack, what has also come to light, post the action by the centre, is some alarming tales. Tales of those being deported back. Centre's 48-hour deadline asking Pakistani nationals to leave India has come to an end, and it has shed light on national security concerns. Some of these Pakistani nationals being deported have been living in India for 40 to 45 years. They hold Indian Aadhaar cards, ration cards. Some say they've even voted in India. Forget about the fact that they are studying here, they have entire families here. They're not Indian citizens. They don't enjoy Indian citizenship. They don't, in many cases, have valid visas or papers to stay on. How did our system miss this? Some of them are making a humanitarian case now, but can India really afford to let them stay? Can India risk the lives of its own for the sake of illegals? Take a look at some of these stories. Osama, a student currently pursuing bachelor's degree, says he's been living in India for 17 years, has cast his vote in elections in India. Listen in.
अभी मैं प्रेजेंटली करंटली मैं परसू कर रहा हूँ अपना बैचलर्स इन कंप्यूटर साइंस। मेरा फाइनल सेमेस्टर चल रहा है। जून में मेरे एग्जाम्स थे, तो मेरे कुछ और प्लान्स थे कि एग्जाम्स खत्म करके मैं जॉब्स के लिए इंटरव्यू के लिए मैं प्रिपेयर कर रहा था, लेकिन अचानक से सब चीज़ होना, ठीक है, ये बहुत अफेक्ट करती है। हम यहाँ पे 17 सालों से, हम 2008 में आए थे, 24/11/2008 में, तो हमने विद इन 15 डेज यहाँ पे आते ही हमने वीजा स्टे करवाया था। हमारे हर एक डॉक्यूमेंट्स यहाँ के बने, आधार कार्ड है, इलेक्शन कार्ड है, राशन कार्ड है, हमारा डोमिसाइल है मेरी यहाँ की, बाकी सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स मेरे बने। अब मैं यहाँ से कहाँ जाऊँगा? इस चीज़ को, इस इंसिडेंट को हम कंडेम करते हैं। हम इसके बिल्कुल खिलाफ हैं। आई हैव डन माई 10th and 12th एज वेल फ्रॉम दिस साइड, राइट। सो अभी मैं परस्यू कर रहा हूँ बैचलर्स, तो मैं कहाँ जाऊँगा? वहाँ पे जाऊँगा, मेरा फ्यूचर क्या है वहाँ पे?
सरकार को तो ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए ना।
अभी पाकिस्तान के साथ आपका कोई लिंक नहीं है?
नहीं, कभी बात भी नहीं हुई, कभी गई भी नहीं। बलांगीर में मेरी है, बस मैं ही हूँ।
आपके बच्चे?
हाँ, बच्चे, एक लड़की की शादी हो गई है, लड़के की भी शादी हो गई है, पूरी फैमिली। वो इंडियन ही है, मैं ही खाली पाकिस्तानी हूँ बस। तो अभी मैं चाहती हूँ, पूरी फैमिली को नहीं छोड़ सकती, मैं अपने बच्चों के साथ रहना चाहती हूँ। मैं आप लोगों को, सरकार को, मोदी सरकार को भी बेनती कर रही हूँ, मेरे को बच्चों से अलग मत करो।
हमारी अभी नई शादी हुई है, 2 माह हुए हैं शादी को, हमने LTV अप्लाई किया हुआ है, अंडर प्रोसेस आ रहा है और हमें ऐसे भेज रहे हैं नोटिस भेज के। ये तो गलत बात है ना। सरकार से यही अपील है, जिनकी शादियां हुई हैं उनको यहाँ रहने दें, नेशनैलिटी उनको दें। आप LTV अप्लाई किए हुए आप उनको दें।
ये मिसेज है।
तो कितने सालों से यहाँ पर रह रहे थे?
ये 45 साल से।
तो किस वजह से आज यहाँ से इनको भेजा गया
है? ये पाकिस्तानी है। हमारी सरकार से यही अपील है, हम अगर गलत हैं, हुकूमत से कोई गलत करते हैं, कोई CID गलत हो, हमारे कुंबे की, हमारे बरादरी।
India has made some notable exceptions though. Shamima Begum, mother of Shaurit Chakra awardee Mudassar Sheikh, who was killed in an encounter with Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists near Baramulla in May 2022, has been taken off the repatriation list. So it's not like there is no human interface as far as these cases are concerned. But now that this curious case of Pakistani nationals has come to light, who do we blame really for this? This is a security nightmare that has been unearthed. And who's responsible? Let's take that to our guests. Major Manik M. Jolly and Vikram Singh continue to be with us. Vikram Singh, I mean, you're a former DGP of a state. What do you make of this situation? How are these people continuing to live in India with no, no papers, formal papers, no citizenship, no passport? They've got all their IDs in India, but they're Pakistani nationals?
Lapse of the worst kind. Now, I'll tell you the ingredients of the security lapse. We have not been able to faithfully enforce NRC or the CAA, but that apart, what we could have done was ensure that our petty politicians and petty political interest of appeasement did not allow our politicians to enforce this kind of a mass movement of illegal Bangladeshi migrants, Pakistanis and Rohingyas, and to have a confirmed vote bank to ensure their victory in elections.
No, once again, Mr. Vikram Singh, once again, this doesn't seem like a case of absolute illegal migrants. These are people who have some people-to-people contact and familial relationships across the border lines. My question is, given our nature of relationship with Pakistan, how are these people just continuing without having to abandon their Pakistani citizenship and becoming a naturalized citizen?
These people have bought their presence in India. Every police station in the country has a register that goes by the name of Lapata Pak Nationals. And that has a documentation of all Pak nationals who are either illegally entered India or who have just gone underground. And it is the job of the police and the intelligence to pursue them vigorously, man by man, woman by woman, and child by child. But the success rate is minimal, and for whatever reason, and the reasons are very obvious, that we did not pursue them with the vigor and the thoroughness with which it should have been pursued. And I would strongly blame the authorities that they should have given the topmost priority to this aspect. To the contrary, it was given the lowest priority, and I dare say, and I must admit, that there's an element of brazen corruption in this as well.
No, absolutely, because Mr. Jolly, it's not like we didn't know who these individuals are. Certainly, they've been identified now.
Yeah, so I would say they've been known for a long. It's just, I think, lack of political will that nobody was wanting to send them out. Because what happens in border areas, and it's been known that people marry across the borders, across the line of control, and they used to move around quite frequently. You have wife in one village, you have another wife in another village, across the border. So these guys used to frequent it, used to be a normal thing, acceptable. But the thing is, since situation changed in the last 20, 30 years, this should have been brought to notice. Imagine the CRPF guys who's marrying his Pakistani woman.
Yes.
A little bit of input, even saying where my unit is going, and she sending it back to her hometown. I mean, this is a security nightmare, and you can say some of it would be happening fine. There are a lot of them who have acquired Aadhaar card and are studying here and all that. So they should be sent back. I mean, war is a tough business. You can't, either you can keep 1.4 billion safe or listen to these 20,000 people. There is no compromise on security in these issues. And whatever said and done, the government has to take these tough calls if you have to enforce security and safety for people. We can't be so unsafe in our country that we can't visit Pahalgam or any other place. And the reason is, even an inadvertent or even an innocent input going back to Pakistan through these people is actually a security lapse. So you have to cut this issue at the root and send them all back. I'm totally in agreement with it.
No, but has this happened over the years because of this entire narrative of people-to-people contact being allowed? I mean, for that CRPF Jawan's case that you're talking about, aren't there service rules where you have to disclose if you're manning a foreign national? That to a Pakistani?
There absolutely are. In army, if I wanted to marry a Pakistani, I would be asked to leave actually. Or you can't be in uniform and married to a Pakistani. You can't do that. So I don't know how the CRPF chain of command works, how they allowed it, because in army you do take permission before marrying and give the details of the lady you are marrying.
Yes.
But I am surprised at the bureaucracy that this is unimaginable, that in a uniform force you would have somebody marrying a Pakistani national.
Yes.
This is like the extreme of anything. Rest of the people I can still understand, they are married across. You have Sania Mirza married into Pakistan. So the marriages across the border have been a trend. But for them living here, and if the government is ready to take a stand, it's all right to send everybody
It's
back.
not just about the fact that they're living here. The fact is many of them have lived here without having taken any citizenship of India. And then the question arises, how do they get Aadhaar cards? How do these individuals vote? I mean, is our democracy an absolute mockery, Vikram Singh? This is clearly a bureaucratic failure, political failure, but also a bureaucratic failure. Their names clearly exist somewhere in some list that now they've been asked to go back.
Shivani ji, obviously this is a terrible administrative lapse on multiple counts. I would say there is no place of misplaced compassion when national security is concerned. I totally agree with Major Jolly that national security is of paramount importance. And as he very rightly mentioned, the government servant conduct rule says that if I even interact, what to talk of marrying a Pakistani, even if I interact with a Pakistani national, I have to report to this government under what circumstances I met the Pakistani and then explain either if I have to take a prior permission or if I do accidentally meet a Pakistani at a party, then I really have to report to my military boss that this was the marriage celebration and I met a Pakistani and I was there. Because this is something that the very basic rudiments of government servant conduct rules. And the question of visiting Pakistan or a Pakistani visiting and staying with me is absolutely unacceptable. The foreigner that says any foreigner visiting, a report has to go to the superintendent of police in 24 hours.
I mean, this is exposed such a lacuna in our system. Major Jolly, just a final question. I've got 30 seconds left. What would you say to those who say, see, they themselves are making the case, these are, in many cases, aged men, women, they have children who are Indians or in some cases Pakistani, but the woman or the man is not of the same nationality. You know, they're crying in front of television cameras today because of the decision the government has finally taken after, I don't know when it was last taken, if it was at all. How would you respond to them?
I would say sorry, tough call. I mean, this is national security at stake. You can't actually keep. If the government start listening to everybody and start modifying policies, because he's crying and she's crying, we'll always be the joke where Aadhaar cards can be made a drop of the hat. You have to take these calls and you have to send them back. Fine, some people will have a difficult family life, but tough luck. That's all. Nobody asks you to enter illegally and get married here.
Yeah, nobody asked you to continue to stay here when you don't have the papers. Yeah. Also, some people will say, why let innocent citizens suffer? I will only say, innocent citizens did suffer in Pahalgam.
Exactly.
You have to prioritize what happened in Pahalgam over what may be lower levels of suffering of others. And certainly time has come to draw a line as far as this case is concerned. I do thank our guests for joining us. Pleasure talking to you. Time for me to take your leave. My colleague Anand Narsimhan is joining you on the other side.
Powered by focus has been on the key meetings that have been ongoing. It all began close to 11 a.m. with Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairing a series of cabinet meetings at his official residence, which is 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. Crucial meetings like the Cabinet Committee on Security, the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs and Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs was held. It was all chaired by the Prime Minister. Separate meeting then took place with some of the NDA ministers, including Rajnath Singh, the Raksha Mantri, Home Minister Amit Shah, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Ashwini Vaishnaw, the INB Minister, was also present in that meeting, apart from BJP Chief JP Nadda. And remember, now we're counting down to the press conference on all that transpired in the cabinet. So we're to hear from the government officially on some of the announcements. All of that is being speculated, still going across to Payal Mehta and Aman Sharma, who join us with more details. Payal and Aman, we have been really waiting for this moment to understand what's the way forward, whether or not we're to expect any other key announcements on part of the government. Payal, to you first, what more do we know about this press conference? We're being told at least 2 union ministers are going to be addressing the media.
We still have to wait and see who else joins Ashwini Vaishnaw. That is actually going to give you a message as to what the message the government of India is trying to convey. So that's one important thing to watch out for. What we do know from our sources, Crispin, is that, in the cabinet meeting, obviously the cabinet paid homage to all those people who had lost their lives in the dastardly attack in Pahalgam, and therefore a 2-minute silence was really observed. As far as the cabinet decisions are concerned, of course, there has been a fair price raise. As far as the price of sugarcane is concerned, that's one of the decisions. And a big project, concerning the Northeast, of course, the road and transport project of 22,000 crores, that's got an approval from the cabinet. At least that's what we know as the cabinet decision is really concerned. We've already heard from government sources on what they wanted to tell us about what happened in the CCS. A detailed review was undertaken, but like you said, it'll be important to see if we can read in between the lines, and if Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw, the INB minister, who was also part of the extended meeting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had with Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, JP Nadda, Jaishankar, that if he has anything to give out from that as well, it's going to be very important to see, because so far all the ministers, whether they're in the government through the BJP or whether they're NDA allies, they've all been keeping extremely tight-lipped on the entire matter. This is a very sensitive issue and concerns the safety, security of Indians, and of course talks about the integrity and the sovereignty of India as a nation as well. So obviously nobody's giving out anything. But let's wait and see if Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw, on behalf of the government of India, on behalf of the Prime Minister, decides to give out anything whatsoever. Although the Prime Minister's message yesterday in the meeting with the service chiefs was very clear that we will give Pakistan a reply and respond as per our time, as per our convenience, and on the place and the timing of our choosing.
Okay, Payal, stay on with us. So, Cabinet observing 2 minutes of silence for the Pahalgam attack is what Payal is telling us. Aman, to you next. We do know about Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, MOSI and B.L. Murugan. They're going to definitely be a part of this presser, an all-important presser. But does that also give us a hint of perhaps some sort of announcements that could be seen as far as the information domain is concerned, given the information war we've seen play out on social media especially?
Well, Kidswin, one thing is very sure that no operational detail is going to be shared. Whatever happened at the Cabinet Committee on Security meeting, obviously that is not going to be shared. There were other meetings also. The Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs and the CCEA on Economic Affairs had also met. So maybe those decisions, whatever have been taken, could be shared by Ashwini Vaishnaw and L. Murugan. L. Murugan is the MOS. INB is already arrived at NMC, and we're just awaiting the arrival of Ashwini Vaishnaw to start this press conference at the National Media Center where we are. See, one thing is very, very clear that, yesterday's meeting was extremely important.
Aman, he's already there. We see him in our frames already. We'll cut to him as soon as we have the audio. All right, I think we have the audio. Let's listen into Union Minister Ashwini
हाईवे का मेघालय और असम को जोड़ता हुआ वो अप्रूव हुआ है. बहुत बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट है. 22,864 करोड़ रुपीस का इसका एस्टिमेटेड कॉस्ट है. 166 किलोमीटर्स 4 लेन एक्सेस कंट्रोल्ड. बहुत
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsuman. Right at the top of this edition, and we're going to keep our focus on Pahalgam and the aftermath